Here's Jim Dubois.
Each year, thousands of adults and children benefit from the resources of the Minnesota Literacy Council. Access talks with the Council's director and manager, as well as 2 adult learners. Our guest is Eric Nesheim, Executive Director of the Minnesota Literacy Council. Eric, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thank you.
Tell us about the programs that the Literacy Council offers.
The Minnesota Literacy Council is a statewide nonprofit organization that's 38 years old. We've been around for a long time. It was started by a couple of volunteers in Roseville, Minnesota, who saw a problem in their community and wanted to solve it. They started tutoring people, and then they saw that there was a bigger need, so those people started tutoring other people, and it started essentially a revolution of literacy in Minnesota. We have a statewide hotline that any student or learner can call to find out where the nearest program is for them to get help. And we run some of our own centers. We have 5 centers in the Twin Cities that are all doing adult literacy work.
And Eric, you've been with the Minnesota Literacy Council now for 19 years. What are some of the major evolutionary changes in the council that have happened during your time here?
When I started, many of the people that we saw come through our doors were born in the United States, had some trouble in school, and dropped out for whatever reason, and then were coming back to seek help so they could get a better job or help their children with their schoolwork. So there were American-born people coming back to us to get what we would call basic skills. Now, 19 years later, the majority of people that we see come through our doors were born in foreign countries and are struggling to learn English and to speak the language so they can get a job. In the metro area, it's roughly, I think, 80% of the people that we see coming through the doors of literacy programs that were born in foreign countries.
How does the Minnesota Literacy Council define literacy?
50 years ago, if you could write your name and do a few basic things, you were essentially considered literate. Nowadays, we consider literacy to include things like technology, math, civics, even some workplace types of things. And so not only do you have reading, writing, speaking, listening, but you have all these other pieces that you need in order to function in society. We often use the term functional literacy, meaning that, you know, if somebody can go into a grocery store and read the label, they're literate. If somebody can read a prescription bottle accurately, if people look at their mail and can read, you know, essentially what's coming to them in their mail, that's called functional literacy. We believe that approximately 20% of our population here in Minnesota are not functionally literate.
Our guest is Abby Rosa, Learning Center Manager at the Minnesota Literacy Council. Abby, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Hi, thanks.
Who comes to the Learning Center, Abby? How do they find out about it, and how do they get here?
Right now, a big portion of our population is are refugees and immigrants, although that's not everybody. There's also folks that just, for whatever reason, have reached adulthood without getting the literacy skills they want or need. And so we have some folks that are, their first language is English, but they're coming to develop their literacy skills.
What are some of the typical goals for someone who will come to the center?
Folks are coming for ESL classes. Often they'll say they need ESL to communicate, and that might be specifics. Often people will cite they were at their children's school and they didn't understand everything that was being told to them, or papers that are coming home, so they just want to be active in that piece of their children's life, and knowing more English will make that possible. A lot of times folks will mention jobs, so either they're currently working and their employer is encouraging them to get more English, or they're just feeling frustrated with the level that they can communicate with their coworkers or supervisor, or they're looking for work and they know that English is a barrier.
How do the students find out about the center in the first place?
Overwhelmingly, we find that our students tell us that word of mouth is the way they heard. So their neighbor, their cousin, someone in their place of worship told them about it. And then we also do a lot of flyering and some work with media to get the word out also.
What sorts of strategies and teaching methods do you use to help adults learn English?
Our philosophy for learning English is that the programming should be immersive and comprehensible. So the classes are done completely in English. We really encourage the students to not be translating every word with a dictionary or by whispering to each other in primary language. And then we want it to be comprehensible, so we use role plays and visual aids, videos, play food, maps to give context, so that we'll if we're talking about busing in the low-level class, we'll set up chairs in the form of a bus. Maybe we'll show a video clip of people riding the bus, and then we'll make someone the driver. Maybe they'll have a hat, and we'll actually act out some scenes, so that even if we sort of say, imagine your class without the sound on. If you can get a context for what was happening, then the students have a chance to pick up some comprehensible meaning from the vocabulary being used. Any kind of learning isn't just about receiving the information, but is about applying it. So we want our students to be applying, if they're working on reading and writing, we want them to be producing original language. If they're working on listening and speaking, we want them to be producing original language.
Abraham is one of the students at the Minnesota Literacy Council. Abraham, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Yes, thank you.
Tell us, Abraham, where you're from.
I am from Ethiopia. When I came to United States, I don't speak any English. And then I started to learn it. English is helping me a lot because especially on my workplace, also when I visit hospital, when I'm trying to communicate with my boss and my co-worker, it's helping me a lot.
And you mentioned, Abraham, that you spoke no English at all when you arrived in the
Absolutely.
U.S., correct?
Absolutely.
What have been some of your biggest personal challenges learning English?
My challenge is how can I communicate it with the people? How can I get better job? As long as I get learn English very well, and then writing, reading, and then I hope I can get a better job too.
We know that writing is a big part of the program here. How does writing help you better learn English?
It's helping me a lot, especially if I don't know how to write. Hard for me to apply a new job, also to write letter for my friend or my family or my co-worker or everything, but writing is very important.
Marie Therese Guerrera is a student at the Minnesota Literacy Council. Marie, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thank you.
Where are you from originally, Marie?
I'm from Haiti.
And how long have you been in the U.S.?
And I got 4 months.
4 months.
I came after the earthquake.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you speak any English at all before you came here?
No.
What language did you speak? Did you speak any French?
I speak French and Creole.
How did you first of all hear about the Minnesota Literacy Council?
I contact a friend. I got a friend, and she told me she will find some idea about learning center, and she go to the internet and find all explication information about learning center, and then she told me, okay, I got address and I got some information, and tomorrow you can go. I think it's good. It's a good idea for me to learn English, and I'm very happy I'm here, and I learned so lot English. I learned so lot the thing I didn't know before. It's not only English I learned, so I learned many things in Learning Center.
And Marie, you had something you'd like to read for us.
Yes, I do. A little visit to Haiti. Every time I'm thinking about good little breeze under the mango trees, the feeling after you finish to take a shower in the ocean and sit over a rock next to it, look at the sun that's sleeping in the sea and drinking some fresh water of the coconut. The night in the rural, the sun that's the bird all singing to consolate the people. The women are bringing the big basket over their head, all searching a little life better for the children. In spite of they have a good smile on their face. To cook, they don't have the instrument that conserve the food. They use natural food that's good for them. You can close your eyes to eating. Oh my God, when the misery this little country will finish.
That's all for this edition of Access Minnesota. Thanks for watching.
Access Minnesota. Issues that matter to you. Join us again next week as we bring you the newsmakers and stories that shape our everyday lives. Access Minnesota is produced by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association in cooperation with the University of Minnesota's College of Liberal Arts.